Another chapter to the long-standing calls for British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak being out of touch with middle-class realities in the UK. Well, the latest comes after Sunak said the British economy was looking up and people's household incomes were hugely outperforming expectations despite the cost of living crisis. Well, he said despite high inflation and food costs, there are plenty of signals that the economy is moving in the right direction. The upbeat assessment, even as households feel the pinch, has drawn some flack. Well, Sunak said economic optimism on the rise, consumer confidence is increasing as well, and growth estimates are being raised. Well, reacting to this, the Labour Party's Member of Parliament, James Murray, said, "Almost every word that comes out of the Prime Minister's mouth shows how utterly out of touch he is and disconnected from the realities of life for working people in our country." Well, the opposition has also labelled Sunak as not being connected to the ground reality. Sunak has often been called the 1% man for his identifying with the elite and lavish lifestyle, where he's frequently been accused of not understanding the woes and struggles of the common man, especially amid the ongoing food security crisis. Well, inflation in the UK has hit a 40-year high of 10.1%, according to government figures. The cost of everyday items, so we've got pasta up by 60%, tea 46% more expensive, and bread has risen 38% just in the past year alone. Well, according to the Office for National Statistics, 93% of adults in Great Britain reported an increase in their cost of living crisis in April 2023. Over 2 million adults in the country have gone without food for a whole day over the past month. Well, our correspondent here in the British capital, Alex Isaac, is standing by to tell us a bit more about this and the reaction to Rishi Sunak from the British public. Alex, thank you for joining us today. So let's go through some of this and the rhetoric that's coming out from both parties. Just give us an idea of the general opinion on Sunak among the general public here in the UK. Do you think he's seen as the 1%? Is that fair, or is he able to understand the issues and economic hardships of the masses here in the country?
It does feel that is a rhetoric that keeps being pushed by opposition parties and those who are against the Prime Minister Rishi Sunak. But generally, the people do want to just see changes happening within their own lifestyles. You talked about the cost of basics there going up, and they continue to rise, and fuel costs as well. We do see a lot of Rishi Sunak showboating when he goes down to pharmacies and tries to push agendas, and we also see that with the Ukraine as well, pushing for extra funds. So there is a lot of that differentiation between what he is as a Prime Minister and an MP itself, and what he's trying to do for the UK public. And it all comes down to the fact that he still has the backing of the Conservative Party, which they have the 12 years of the economy. And I think a lot of people are remembering that. It's not just about this one individual person. It's not about Rishi Sunak as an individual. It's about the party and what they've done over the past 12 years, decade really, and how that's going to move forward. And people are very frustrated. They want to see real change. And although he has become a lot more impressive since he has taken on the role as Prime Minister, being quite astute in the way that he speaks, they still haven't seen any actual real changes. Those policies that he set out have not actually occurred yet. And that is what people are hearing. That's what people are listening. Whether or not he is rich in himself, I'm not 100% sure that is really what drives people to not like him, or like him in any sense of the word. It is just why things haven't changed, and they want this to move forward.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that he is a billionaire shouldn't really matter, should it? Given that he's there to do a job and clearly wants to do the job, and the fact that he doesn't even need the job, maybe that's a positive.
Potentially, that could well be. Again, it comes down to what exactly policies are going out. And let's not forget as well that other members of the House, including the opposition, are also quite wealthy and well off. And a lot of members don't have any other job previous, so no experience in the role. And they are still moving things forward. I think generally the UK public does seem to be a bit disillusioned with what's happening on either side of the House. That's Labour and Conservatives, hence potentially why Lib Dem got a few more votes in the local election, because people do want to see a change. They are fed up with hearing the same, and interest rates are not going down. Mortgages are still really expensive. There's a housing crisis. There's a cost of living crisis. There's a lot of problems that are going on, and it doesn't seem like any of the parties are really driving forward ways to fix this. Labour themselves have these huge elaborate plans to potentially rejoin the EU if they get in and let under 16s vote, and Conservatives as well talk about immigration, which has been a real contentious issue, because that does feel the reason why a lot of people voted for Brexit in the first place, which has then stopped a lot of the farming work, has stopped a lot of food coming over. So that's been a lot of a problem, but they talk about immigration, yet they haven't done anything. So either party and either house do seem to be focusing on the wrong things, about the tit for tat of who hasn't done this and who has done this or that. And it does feel like this is a continuing argument, but what really needs to happen is some real move forward, and to help the UK public, and not just give them handouts when it comes to the fact that they can't afford to heat. It should be, how can we make sure that those windfall taxes are sorted? How can we make sure that people aren't just paying, that something is changing for everyone?
Alex Isaac, thank you so much indeed, talking about the economic and political situation here in Britain for us. Our London correspondent there, speaking about the British Prime Minister just days ahead of the G7.